Good morning, everybody. Topic for today is, erased it, point slope equations for lines. Typical equation for a line, if this will open up, typical equation for a line might be something like this, 2 times x minus 3 plus 1. If you notice, the point 3 comma 1 is on the graph, and it's also sort of in the equation. 3 would be a good value to use for x, and that would produce a 1 for y, and there's our point. The slope is 2, and if we go to our graph here, go at that first point, if we go up 2 over 1, we also get a point that's on the graph. Just as a quick second example here, see if I can get my fingers to work. Second example here would be 3/5 x plus 4 plus 1. If you notice, the point -4, 1 is on the graph. It's sort of in the equation too. -4 would be a good value for x because it would make the parentheses 0, and then we'd be left with a 1 for y. The slope is 3/5. If we start at that first point, we go up 3 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and sure enough, the slope of the line is 3/5, just like in the equation. Typical example, typical questions for this might be, here's an equation for you. The slope for that equation, well, it's 3. It's right there in the equation. A point that goes on that line, well, I'd want to plug in a 2 for x to make the parentheses 0. And then 3 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1, and my y-coordinate would be 1. If I wanted to make a graph, one option is to plot that point 2 comma 1 that we got over here. The slope is 3, so that means up 3 over 1, and then I got my line. Probably draw your lines neater than I do. Another option for making a graph is just to make a table. So we could pick some x values to use. 2 would be a perfect x value. If we go plug that 2 in for x, the y value would be 3 times 2 minus 2 plus 1. Work that out, and we get the y value as 1. If we plugged 3 in for x, the y value would be 3, times 3 minus 2 plus 1, which would be 3 times 1 plus 1, which would be 4 if I did that right. And there we go. Second example here, maybe you have the graph and you're asked to go backwards. The slope, well, I'd like to get a couple of points that are on that graph. It looks like here's one that's easy to read, and here's another one. If it's me, I sometimes like to put the points in a table. So for this first point, x is 1, y is -2. For this second point, x is 4, y is -3. For the slope, you can either use the table or the graph. It goes down 1 and over 3. So negative slope, -1/3. The point that's on the line, I got 2 of them. One point would be that. If you really wanted to, you could have picked this point too. And then the equation, one possible equation is, I'm going to use point slope. There's my slope, and I used this point in the equation. You could have also used this point for your equation. Or you could have used this point for your equation. Notice the slope stays the same, the point changes. Slope is one number, the point, we need 2 numbers to go for a point. So one of the numbers has to do with the x and the other for the y. And that's it for point slope for today.